I've been knitting a Petals and Pico cowl by Carolyn McKenna, which requires the addition of many beads, and I thought I would take just a minute to show you how easy it is to add beads to your knitting. So I am using, for this pattern, it calls for a US size 11 mini crochet hook. I'm trying to make it so it'll focus here if you can. It's a little teeny tiny hook. It's just really small, and it needs to be that small because it needs to go through the eye of the beads that we're using. I'm using these beads that I purchased from my local craft store. They're glass beads, and they are 6mm. Let's see, is that right? If you can see it right here, 6mm beads, and if I put my hook through the eye of the bead, it fits on here just right. Okay, so this is how you add a bead. I'm going to follow the pattern in my cowl and show you the rest of this row how to add them. So I am to the point where I'm ready to add a bead to the next stitch. Now you could line up, thread your yarn with hundreds of beads. I mean, so far I've used over 450 beads. That's very tedious, and then you just slide it along and knit it into your knitting. But it actually looks really nice and is much easier to do it this way. So what I'm going to do is I want to add it to this stitch. I'm going to use my crochet hook, just pull it off of the needle. I'm going to just pick up one of my beads, going to grab that yarn, slide the bead over, and place the yarn back on my left needle. And then I'm going to simply knit into the stitch above the needle. Okay, so let's follow the pattern that I'm doing on this row, and I'll show you another one. Okay, it's time for another bead. I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to just pick up a bead. I'm going to pull it off, slide the bead down, hook it onto my left needle again, and knit into the stitch above the bead. It's really very simple, you can see. It takes time because I have to stop, let's get that. I have to stop and put down my, let go of the yarn that I have tensioned and pick up the hook and get the bead, but really it's not a hard process. Okay, so I just grab the yarn, slide it off, put the bead down over, put this back on, and keep knitting. Now, sometimes you will encounter a bead where the eye is just a little bit too small, so just set those aside. I have actually quite a pile of those where they're just a little bit too small, and I can use those for other projects, for other things. All right, that's how you add beads to your knitting. It's pretty simple.